back to Washington, where work to end the shutdown continues, and Senate Republican Conference Chair Tom Cotton joins us. President Trump, truth last night. Democrats have shut down the United States government right in the midst of one of the most successful economies. I am happy to work with Democrats on their failed health care policies or anything else, but first they must allow our government to reopen. In fact, they should open our government tonight. Do you see anything, and perhaps this situation with the airports could be something that helps break the logjam so that the two parties can get together, talk, get this done?
Well, Dana, the real world consequences are going to start piling up here, and hopefully that'll help the Democrats come to their senses. As President Trump said, as Speaker Johnson and Senator Thune have said all along, there's nothing to negotiate until the Democrats vote to open the government. If they want to talk about giving taxpayer-funded health care to illegal aliens at that point, then they're certainly welcome to do so. But they need to open the government. You started to see some consequences yesterday with these air traffic delays out in California. Later this week, the Women, Infants, and Children's Nutritional Program is probably going to run out of money. That means poor moms with kids may not be able to buy milk and eggs and breads for their kids. We're going to have delays for civilian employees' paychecks later this week, then troop paychecks next week. These are all because the Democrats refuse to open the government, and then they can negotiate about health care, immigration, or anything else. And frankly, Dana, what we started hearing around the Senate yesterday is that there's a big left-wing rally in Washington, D.C. next Saturday, October 18th. And Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are so scared of their own radical left-wing base, they plan to keep the government shut until after that rally, and only then will they vote to keep the government open. They shouldn't be playing political games with nutrition for kids and our troops' pay. They should vote to open the government today.
Okay, so that's interesting about what you're saying about the protest, because there is a theme out there about Senator Schumer. And one of the reasons he has, held steady on this one, where he didn't in March, is because he's concerned that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or someone else from his left would be challenging him before next year. Do you think there's any semblance of truth to that?
100% true, Dana. We've seen it now for months in the Senate. Chuck Schumer is scared, first, of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and second, of his radical left-wing base. That's why we're in this Schumer shutdown. Chuck Schumer knows better. For the 4 years he ran the Senate, he put 13 bills just like this one on the floor, short-term funding bills, to allow the parties to continue to negotiate. He voted for all 13 of them, of course. Now he refuses to vote for them because he's scared of his own political base. And particularly, he's scared of this big left-wing protest in Washington, D.C. coming next Saturday, October 18th, and apparently is willing to shut down nutritional programs for young children and pay for our troops so he can get beyond that protest on October 18th and not face any blowback. It's outrageous political gamesmanship.
All right. In the meantime, we've had the situation where the president yesterday said that, well, he was asked a question, a hypothetical, if he would ever consider using the Insurrection Act. He said, hypothetically, yes, sure, I would do that. Senator Merkley is out there saying that Trump is manufacturing this crisis in Portland. Where do you come down on National Guard troops being deployed to deal with this issue, and is the Insurrection Act necessary?
Well, I don't think any American who's seen the history of attacks on federal authority and federal property in Portland going back at least 5 years would say it's manufactured. Look, you always want to rely on local police first, and the police forces in these cities can probably do the job if they're allowed to do the job. Unfortunately, you have left-wing Democratic mayors who don't just restrain them from enforcing ordinary criminal laws. You have the mayor of Chicago who is telling his police department explicitly that he's not allowed to support federal immigration officers in their city. So think about that. You could have a shootout between depraved, criminal, illegal aliens and federal immigration enforcement authorities, and the Chicago Police Department are not going to come to their assistance. So if this continues and you have an open defiance and resistance of federal law, then of course the president has to at least consider the use of the National Guard and, if necessary, invoking the Insurrection Act, as has happened from time to time throughout our history, because we cannot have Democratic-run cities openly resisting federal authority inside of their cities.
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that. Keep us posted. Interesting on that protest on October 18th. I bet you're right. They'll wait until after that. And we'll see if Mom Donnie goes down and has a starring role. Thank you.